Today we're going to talk about writing. It's called related conditionals. Yeah, we'll call it conditional statements. Writing related conditional statements. All right, and I'm following or getting my information from the table on the top of page 83. So we're going to kind of create a table in your notes that's going to say statement, and then the definition of that statement, and then the symbol for that statement. Now, you're going to have to memorize these, and you're going to have to know them for your quiz on Friday. The easiest way to remember them is to memorize the order of the statements and then memorize the symbols. Okay? So yesterday we talked about a conditional. And the definition of a conditional was if the hypothesis then the conclusion. The symbol for that was P, arrow, Q. And you read that symbol, if P, then Q. P represents the hypothesis, Q represents the conclusion. And an example of a conditional statement could be something like, if I study, then I will get better grades. Everybody good? Caught up? The hypothesis in this statement is I study. That's what follows the if. The conclusion is that I will get better grades. So there are three statements that are related to a conditional. The first one that's related to a conditional is called a converse. If you're asked to write the converse of a conditional, the definition is if, conclusion, then hypothesis. And another way of saying that is you just switch the hypothesis and the conclusion. The symbol is Q arrow P. And an example of that if I want better grades, then then I will study. The second related statement is called an inverse. Definition for the inverse is if, not, hypothesis. Then, not, conclusion. Another way of saying that is you negate the original hypothesis and conclusion. The symbol looks like squiggly line P, arrow, squiggly line Q. And you read that symbol as if not P, then not Q. So an example would be, now these are all related to the original conditional. So if you go back to the original conditional that said, if I study, I will get better grades. If I do not study, then I will not get better grades. And the final related statement is called a contrapositive. Contrapositive is when you negate the converse. So the definition is going to be if, not, conclusion. Then not, hypothesis. The symbol would be not Q, arrow, not P. And an example would be that if I do not want better grades, then I will not study. Four statements. Anybody have any questions about how to write those four statements? No?